Hi, everyone, and welcome to Power of PR, Girls for Business's November virtual event. I'm Rachel Wang, and I am the founder and executive director of Girls for Business. We are so excited to see everyone, and thank you all so much for joining us today.
Hi guys, I'm Sophia Xu, and I'm one of the co-founder and co-director of operations at Girls for Business. And a special thank you to our wonderful panelists, Miss Trisha Bieher and Miss Isabelle Ross, for speaking today. Now I'll pass it on to Angelica, the co-director of outreach at Girls for Business and also the host of today's event.
Hi, everyone. So I'm Angelica Fruit, and I'm the co-director of outreach at Girls for Business. And again, thank you all so much for joining us today. And we're so excited to see everyone. And I hope you've all been having an amazing weekend and Thanksgiving break for those who celebrate. And so as sort of a warm up, and so we know who's here, if everyone could type your name, grade, and where you're from in the chat, that would be amazing. So to start off, I'm a junior in high school from Maryland. And yeah, it would be great to know where you guys are from. Looking through our RSVPs, I saw a lot of people from like all over. I think I saw someone attending from Hong Kong, so like amazing, amazing like international representation of GFP. And we're super, super thankful that you guys could come out today. And yeah, also as sort of like a surprise thing that we didn't really announce in the promo for this event, but I'm announcing right now, we will have a raffle at the end of our event today, just to sort of give back to the community and like, you know, as sort of a way of giving thanks to you guys and everyone who makes it to these monthly events. We're super grateful for you guys and your support for our organization. And, you know, we just love sharing our initiative with you guys. So yeah, love all the responses coming in, and shout out to all of the like middle schoolers, you know, all of you guys getting into business and, you know, interested in what you want to do in the future at such a young age. That's super inspiring. And yeah, glad to see where everyone's from. So I think we can move on to the next slide. Today at our Power of PR event, we hope to educate, inspire, and empower middle and high school girls in pursuing business and further exploring public relations. And we've invited two highly experienced panelists who are currently pursuing business focuses at amazing schools, who will be sharing with you unique perspectives, exclusive education, career tips, and what it truly means to thrive in their fields. And you'll learn how their studies are aiding them towards their personal and professional goals in business and PR in our main event discussion later on. So we're so excited for our two panelists to share all their diverse experiences with you guys today. So I think, Catherine, if you're able to, oh no, okay, I don't know if I'm frozen or not. Okay, Catherine, if you're able to switch to the slide with today's event structure, I believe is the third slide. First, I'll just be briefly introducing our organization, Girls for Business, and sharing our initiatives with you all. Then our wonderful panelists will be introducing themselves more and sharing their general experiences and journeys in pursuing business. And then we'll segue into the main portion of our event, which is our panel discussion, where panelists will offer deeper insights on their different areas of PR, marketing, communication areas, as well as more into the business field in general, based on the topics and questions that we received from you guys in our event RSVP form. And then we'll also give you guys the chance to ask questions live during this discussion. And then finally, we'll wrap up the event at around 6:55 Eastern Standard Time with panelist contact information. If you have any further inquiries for anyone, as well as how to get involved with our organization and future events. And then be sure stay till the very end, where we'll be announcing all raffle winners out of all the attendees today in honor of Thanksgiving and just as a token of appreciation to our wonderful Girls for Business community. So without further ado, if we go on to the next slide, I'll have a little bit more to tell you guys about Girls for Business. So though business applications are found in a majority of career industries, business education is scarcely taught in traditional K-12 curriculum. And as a result, a lot of students like us lack exposure to important career and personal finance skills when they enter the workforce. And moreover, the business workforce is a drastically male-dominated field. Women often lack representation in making important business decisions, and sort of the stereotype of old men in suits discourages girls from pursuing business endeavors from the very start. So that's where Girls for Business comes in. We're a student-led 501c3 nonprofit organization on a mission to expand business and networking opportunities to all middle and high school girls. So going on to the next slide, Girls for Businesses programs center around three main initiatives: mentorship, resources, and community. GFB offers free business mentorship through 10-week mentorship cycles, and our mentors are experienced college students and business professionals who guide student mentees to explore business careers and learn about business through GFB curricula. Our next cycle of mentorship begins in, I think, January, and we're currently welcoming all applications. So I think, Rachel, if you're able to put a link in the chat to our mentee application. Yeah. If you want to sign up for free mentorship, there's bit.ly right there. And we'll also include a bunch of resources at the end of our event. So don't worry if you miss any links that are coming out now. And also GFB offers business resources through a variety of platforms. So our organization publishes bi-weekly newsletters with business commentaries and career tips. Another sign up link is going to go in the chat right now, where you can sign up for our bi-weekly newsletters. We produce daily graphics, documentaries, and video resources on social media, educating a growing audience of over 4,000 followers. And we also coordinate these monthly business events, such as today's, with an event record of over 10 past panels and an international conference. Finally, Girls for Business institutes community platforms to nurture networking connections, and GFB's ambassador program connects high school ambassadors who collaborate on marketing projects in our chapter development program, which extends GFB's initiatives in high school clubs around the world. So we also have an ambassador app, or if you want to start a high school chapter, there are links in the chat for that as well. And we're super excited to announce that Girls for Business will be launching its state chapter program this December. So stay on the lookout for details to apply to become a state chapter leader, with positions including state president, vice president, and more. And more information will be dropping soon on our social media. And through our organizational programs, Girls for Business aims to inspire girls and becoming the next generation of young businesswomen. So now that you've heard way too much talking from me, I'm so excited to pass it on to our outreach coordinators to introduce our panelists for today.
Hi everyone, my name is Maddie. I'm an outreach coordinator at Girls for Business, and I'm from Toronto, Canada.
Sorry, I couldn't find the unmute button, but hi, my name is Catherine, and I'm also an outreach coordinator at Girls for Business.
So today you'll be hearing from Ms. Trisha Bieher and Ms. Isabelle Ross.
Our panelists will be introducing themselves and sharing their general experiences a little more in the next few slides, so you can all get to know them. So now, without further ado, I will pass it on to Trisha. Take it away.
Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for being here. My name is Trisha, and I'm from Seattle, Washington, and I'm currently a freshman at Cornell University studying business at the Dyson School. Last year, I founded my nonprofit organization, the Artshine Foundation, which so far has impacted 20,000 people globally, from artists to activists around the world. And some of the activities that I'm participating in as a freshman at Cornell is social business consulting, which involves social impact and consulting nonprofits and social businesses. I'm also on the Hunger team and in the Quant Fund. And outside of these activities, you can find me playing the harp, working out, or getting boba with friends. Most of my PR experience has to do with my nonprofit organization, but I've also had experience with PR regarding high school clubs, as well as the other clubs I'm in Cornell right now. So I'm super excited to speak today and answer any questions that you guys might have about not only college and the college app experience, but.
Great, thank you so much, Trisha. Now we're going to pass it off to Isabelle.
Hi, everybody. My name is Isabelle Ross. I'm originally from Fort Wayne, Indiana, but I currently live in Chicago, and I go to DePaul University. I am a senior now. It's hard to figure out what year I am, as you know, COVID kind of messed things up, but that's another story. Senior, and I'm studying public relations and advertising at DePaul's School of Communications. I've been in the city since 2018, and during that time, I started interning immediately. So I began at Campus Reel. It's actually a really good tool for you guys to use who are in high school looking into colleges. It's you can probably find my vlogs on there, my 18-year-old self. It's kind of embarrassing. But basically you like go around in your campus. There's a bunch of different schools. University of Connecticut's probably on there. Like Ohio State, all around the US. And so I did that for DePaul. I just went around and was a little intern for them and took a few videos, and then I went to Chrome City for the summer, did some content branding and internship there. Then went to London for a study abroad and interned there as well, which was a really cool experience, just being an international intern. They do things a lot differently over there, so it was kind of interesting to see that process. Then I came back to the States. I worked in events PR. So I was at this bubbly events in Chicago. Then I went to fashion PR and I was a marketing coordinator for this company called Ready Pretty. And currently I'm at Zapwater Communications, which is lifestyle and travel PR. So I've kind of done all the way around. So yeah, I'm at Zapwater. I've been there for about a year now. I'm really loving it. It's a great organization. So other experiences, yes, I did my study abroad. I've done TaskRabbit just over the summer. And it's actually a really cool way to meet interesting people. I've been like a personal assistant for some really interesting people. I'd recommend it when you're a little bit older, probably not in high school. It can be a little scary. But yeah, maybe look into it when you're in college. I wrote for the Odyssey online for my school. I make stickers on Redbubble. They're not very good, but I make them. And hobbies, I love designing websites, Photoshop, painting, traveling when I have money, and just exploring Chicago. Yeah, it's a good time. So thanks for having me here, and I'm excited to answer any of your questions.
Thank you so much, Isabelle. Now that both of our panelists have introduced themselves a bit, we will be transitioning to our panel discussion, where Trisha and Isabelle will delve deeper into their personal and professional experiences and unique perspectives.
So we will first be starting off with a couple of the most frequently asked questions and requested topics from you guys in the RSVP form. Our first and most frequently asked question to our panelists is, what would you recommend high schoolers to start doing to be successful in business majors after high school?
Trisha, you can go ahead and take that one.
Sure. That's a really great question. I would say that throughout branding yourself and putting your brand image out there, but trying to develop as a person and truly learn about things that you care about. I've personally seen a lot of high school students get caught up in, the college app process and trying to put as much as they can on their resume. And I don't think that really prepares you for a business career or a really rigorous business school like Dyson or a Wharton or a Ross or any other business school. So my advice would be to seek out mentorship, seek out experiences and opportunities which really enhance your learning and personal development, and find ways to develop skills that can help you in those business schools, in team projects and clubs that you'll be involved in going into college. And some of the things that I did, so the first one was getting involved in other nonprofits. I did this before starting my own nonprofit. I wrote for several journals. So I wrote for the Youth Foreign Policy magazine, and I also edited for another journal. I also did other public speaking events. I did DECA. I led some clubs. And what this did was that, I tried to do things that I enjoyed, but also find leadership positions and valuable experiences and places where I could learn and develop and was challenged. And this really prepared me well for kind of what I was going to face at Cornell, because I had built up that skill set consisting of leadership skills, of communication skills, time management skills. And I think those are the most important things that you can kind of gain as a high schooler in order to prepare yourself for business school.
Yeah, and going off of that, I think everybody being here today is already a great step in preparation for college and, pursuing business in the future. I mean, it's a Sunday and we just come off like a long weekend, and the fact that you guys all showed up today and that's showed initiative, that's really impressive. So you already get a gold star in my book. But yeah, exactly what Trisha said. I think organization too is a big thing. Going into business or PR or honestly any field in college, especially because it's kind of your first time on your own, being organized and keeping your space organized and your class and your homework schedule. And if you do get an internship, just managing time. So yeah, organization and time management for sure.
Thank you for both of your answers. Something else many of our attendees wanted to know from each of the panelists was, how did you know you wanted to do PR out of all the fields in business?
I would say I definitely looked into my personal passions and things I like to do in my free time, and I kind of combined them into one. So I really like photography, I like writing, editing, communicating with people, reaching out and talking to people, and I'm interested in a lot of like social media. So I think combining all that stuff kind of led me down the route to PR. And I think if you kind of find an interest in the behind the scenes of maybe some ads or commercials or relations between companies, I think that's a great start, just kind of following that. So yeah, just looking at your own passions and seeing how you can translate that into work in a degree in the future.
I personally think that PR kind of complements other fields that I might want to go into, for example, business analytics or finance or consulting. And I think that PR is powerful, especially because we have social media as a tool and we can kind of leverage it to our advantage. And for example, my nonprofit, I would say I built that entirely off of social media, and kind of seeing the power of technology to kind of unite communities and get your word out there and create a social impact is what fascinates me. And I think that is why I think PR as a field is a really great field. It's a growing field, and I feel like it can go well with any other concentration or any other field as well.
That's amazing. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Kind of bouncing off of Trisha, I'll be quick. Like she said, PR definitely complements a lot of fields, as there's many different branches you can take in PR. You can take healthcare PR, fashion PR, lifestyle, travel PR. So like she said, get interested in maybe one of those. Maybe you love to travel, or you're interested in the medical field and maybe healthcare and beyond. I think PR definitely is just a way to kind of still have a more like fun and communicative and creative space while taking an interest, just combining two interests. Okay, that's all. Go ahead, Madeline.
Thank you so much. Thank you for both of your insights. I loved your both perspectives on social media and following your passion. Another common question was, how did you use your setbacks in life for the better?
Yeah, sure. So I can take that one. I think in high school, as a South Asian female activist and artist, it was kind of hard to find communities where I felt heard, where I could share my opinions and perspectives, and kind of get people to reciprocate and respond to what I was saying. And I think that what this did was that it pushed me to kind of enter spaces which I would have never entered before unless I faced some of those challenges, unless I faced skepticism for what I was doing, from other people, whether it was regarding art or doing business or anything of the sort. I think I was pushed a lot to go into STEM, and I wasn't really interested in that. And I had to really push myself out of my comfort zone to gain experiences where I didn't have that much access to business resources. I had to find out tools and ways that I could develop a skill set which could help me get into a business school. I had to work to build my personal brand image, get my word out there, voice my opinions as an activist, and really make myself heard. And I think that, if you do face setbacks or obstacles, you should see that as motivation to continue going forward, to prove to people that what you have to say is important and that as a young person, you are capable of making change. because a lot of people don't see that and they're not able to understand it. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't recognize that within yourself. And that doesn't mean that you shouldn't utilize your full potential and go out there and make that change that you need to see in the world.
And Trisha, I'm sure like you're a freshman, and I'm sure starting your nonprofit so young in your life, I'm sure a lot of people, I don't know, maybe had doubts and maybe didn't take you seriously enough as a young woman. So that's definitely an impressive thing, and everything that she said is really important. So you are going to have people that doubt you and maybe don't believe in you as much, but I think the most important thing is you knowing who you are, and you knowing your own strengths and that you can do something, and even faking it till you make it. So I think just building your confidence is huge in college too, because especially being on your own, you're a little out of your comfort zone and maybe shy in situations. So really building up your confidence throughout the years is really going to help you in your future career.
Thank you again so much for all of your answers. Those were really helpful and insightful. So another question that a lot of our RSVP form responses asked was, what are some lifelong skills that you've gained from being involved in PR?
I think, well, as the term PR is public relations, I think it even just through my classes and through experiences helped me to become a much better speaker. I tend to get like too excited when I speak and get a stutter sometimes. So I think it helped me to slow down and organize my thoughts before I speak. Definitely helped me to become a better writer. In the public relations field, you're going to be writing every single day, whether that's press releases or emails or little notes or letters, you're going to be writing a lot. So I've definitely improved on my writing skills for sure. And just insights, especially with PR, you definitely have to read the news every single day. I recently just had a class with a professor that really pushed that. We had weekly news quizzes and had to download the AP News app. So I think because the political climate and just the news culture is definitely going to drive your PR and your practices. So for example, if you're in healthcare PR and just the coronavirus especially, every single day there's new regulations and new numbers, and my professor worked for Pfizer, and so she has to read the news and be aware of the news cycle every day to promote this new drug or the vaccine. So I think just, yeah, definitely keeping up with global news, with national news is definitely something I've kind of worked into my daily schedule.
Yeah, so as Isabelle said, I think two of the big things are writing and public speaking skills. I can say that from my personal experience building a nonprofit and doing public speaking events and kind of building my own brand, having to speak in front of audiences, I think, is the best way to develop those public speaking skills. And I think after doing that for a while now, I've realized that kind of leaks its way into every facet of my life, whether it's explaining something to someone, talking about myself during an interview, preparing deliverables for a consulting meeting, anything along the lines of that. And I think that also with PR, since you have to put yourself out there so much, you have to really build confidence and learn how to develop a brand image and kind of market yourself. And I think that involves very high levels of professional skills and management skills, and also writing, strong writing and grammar skills. And I think that those are very important in college and beyond, not only in PR, but in so many other fields. And I think that if you incorporate, PR into your everyday life, you don't necessarily, have to do an internship or be in that position. But if you're doing public speaking events, or if you're doing activism and you have to do PR to get the word out there, those are all great ways to build those skills, build those experiences, and learn how to take PR and kind of use it as a complement to whatever else you might be doing.
Thank you so much. Those are definitely some great skills to have. Another question we have is, what is a typical workday in PR?
I'll go ahead. Just based off of my current internship and the other women who are around me, and just witnessing their schedules. I start luckily enough at 9:30, and it depends though, because PR is definitely a field that has a lot of remote work. So some days I go into the office, some days I'm remote. When I do go into the office, I love to send my tasks email as an intern, and a lot of people will send me tasks to do. I like to let everybody know my schedule ahead of time so they can, if I have a short workload, they can give me more. If I have a big one, they can kind of back off for the day. So sometimes we have client meetings in the morning. So as our clients are a lot of hotels or businesses around the world, we sometimes have to work around their schedule. So we'll take some in the morning, some in the afternoon, and then just work throughout the day, knocking things off my list. Sometimes, from my experience, I'm usually split down the middle. I do a few influencer and social media tasks, and then a heavy amount of PR tasks. So writing press releases or building media lists that we can send a press release to. So yeah, and then just finishing at around 5:30 and then going home and doing some free time stuff.
Yeah, so for my typical schedule, I think I'll just run down like how I go about my day at college, with PR kind of complementing the things that I do. So usually I wake up and then there are classes, and afterwards I'll do some nonprofit work, and I just want to talk a little bit about like building my nonprofit and how PR kind of went into that. And so when I first started out, I was spending 2 to 3 hours a day just on social media, trying to branch out into communities and build ASF following. And weekly, I would send out deliverables to my team once I hired them. And recently for a conference, every day I was emailing companies and speakers and trying to get the entire event organized. And so I think now, in college, since I was reaching out to so many different people throughout high school just to build this nonprofit, it's a lot easier for me now to kind of go about my day and manage, juggle a bunch of different things. So usually after classes are over, I have a bunch of club meetings, whether it's for social business consulting or in Pangra, I'm doing PR related stuff with them now as well, or just writing, finding events to speak at, and continuing to build my brand image and nonprofit. And then there's office hours for classes. There's always clubs. There's always events going on. And I think that like with such a busy schedule, it would be impossible to kind of manage all of it unless you had experience with time management and had these strong organizational skills. So I think for high schoolers interested in PR or doing PR related work at a business school, I would say start building and developing those skills now, because you'll really, really need them in the future when you have all of these activities going on and your day-to-day is so busy and so hectic.
Wow, that was a lot of insight. Thank you for telling us so much about your nonprofit. That helps a lot. Okay, so another question is, what was the process like of starting a nonprofit? So I know that Trisha already got into this a little bit, but maybe you could delve more deeply into it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I just kind of started out with an idea. I was an artist, but I was also very into activism. And I started thinking of kind of ways to combine it. And that's when I encountered the term artivism, which is art activism. And I didn't really see any other spaces for this, at least not for specifically Gen Z. And that's when I decided that I wanted to kind of be the change and go out and create this community. And at first, obviously, it was difficult because I didn't know a lot of people who had heard about this term, who were interested in what I was doing. And so getting the word out there was difficult. And, at times I really did doubt my ability to start a large international nonprofit organization. But I think that one thing that really helped was that I was extremely passionate about what I was doing. And I think this was very evident to people I was reaching out to. And because of this, I was kind of able to build a team of people who are also just as passionate about the cause as I was. And once I kind of built up my team, that's when I started launching initiatives and working together, kind of building that community, a sense of community and teamwork, and just bonding over all of the different cultures that we had represented on our team. And I think after that, then we went 501c3, which that happened like a while later after we had already done a couple of initiatives. And it's a tedious process to start a nonprofit. I'm really watering it down here, but building a team, going 501c3, launching these initiatives, and just coordinating all of these on a large international scale is difficult, but you do have the ability to do it. Lots of Gen Z have the ability to do it, and you can do it too, even if it looks hard and daunting. There are people who will be willing to contribute to your cause, and there are people who will support you. So that's kind of my advice with starting a nonprofit, and I'm sure that the entire Girls for Business team can also attest to that. But yeah, that's a little bit about how I started my nonprofit and some of the challenges I faced while trying to do so.
Thank you so much. I know that's really helpful for anyone thinking of starting a nonprofit. And we have a couple more questions. One, what courses or college concentrations do you recommend for someone interested in public relations?
So I know at DePaul, as one of the best PR schools in the nation, we have a great program under the communications umbrella. And when you do your orientation, they'll show you this like big PowerPoint with an umbrella of communications. And it's a great degree in like communications and media because you can do so many different things with that. PR is just one route. So with PR, I've decided to take a few different classes. Media ethics is really interesting because it's interesting to kind of backtrack and look at how media is formed and different components that go into it, and kind of on the back end of things, how different happenings and occurrences in life can influence the media. Some other classes that I've taken a few film classes. Yeah, writing classes definitely have helped me too as well. And yeah, so PR is just, it's a great field overall, just being able to do a few different things. From my experience, I know that a lot of people in PR and advertising kind of either go the PR or advertising route. So either your freshman or sophomore year, you'll kind of figure out which one is more suited best for you. Advertising has a lot to do with the creative side of things and building ads. And I did take an ad class where the whole time we kind of just examined Super Bowl ads and how they were effective or not effective as much. And I've definitely found that PR has been more for me as I love to communicate with people a lot more. Yeah, so definitely that's my experience with it.
So at Cornell specifically, if you were in the Dyson School of Business, I would say that the two main concentrations are marketing and strategy. And at Dyson, you can also concentrate in two different areas. So you could do marketing and strategy both. But I think PR specific, like related majors, there's a communications major. And I think that has to do with public relations as well. But overall, I think that just because of the holistic education experience that Cornell offers, there's a lot of room to explore not only public relations, but other fields that it can complement. And just like there are so many student organizations, different clubs, and institutes and centers for things here at Cornell that I think there's plenty of room to kind of explore PR related fields, whether it's through an internship, through events or panels, through joining a club, or concentrating in marketing or something along the lines of that. And that's like my personal experience with Cornell. So if you are thinking of going into PR and you're applying to Cornell, those are some of the things that you can apply for. And as Isabelle said, there are so many other great schools with amazing programs. And I would definitely consider applying to those as well.
Okay, yeah. So the last question that we have for today in this part of the event is, what's your favorite memory of working in PR?
I think my favorite memory had to be in London. Just being an American in that kind of situation, it was really cool just to be in a different space and learn how things are done across the pond. And in PR, you get invited to a lot of events, which is really fun, whether it's like brand activations or influencer events. This particular event I got to go to was at the National Gallery in London, which is this huge museum, like straight smack dab in the middle of London. And it was gorgeous. I felt like I was in like a spy movie or something. Yeah, but it was beautiful. It was that kind of yeah, it really sealed the deal that I definitely was in the right field and wanted to pursue these things. And although it's an event, you still obviously have to be professional and represent your the company that you're interning or working for. But it does have its perks on the side. So additional perks too. A lot of your clients that you may work for send you samples of their products. So a few clients that I'm working on right now are Good Sam chocolate. So they'll send some chocolate to our office, or Snapdragon. They have like ramen and pho, which is really nice. So yeah, there's PR is great. Honestly, that's all I could say. It's the best. So if you're considering it, definitely just look into it. But yeah, I'd say definitely the National Gallery event was kind of the top of my college.
Isabel, that sounds really cool. I'm just a freshman in college, so I haven't kind of done any internships in college yet, but I'm hoping to do that. And I can't wait for the perks that you talked about. So I think my personal favorite experience was just with my nonprofit. When I was running with my team, our STEAMism conference, which was a 3-day international conference, and it took a lot of work. We were on a very short timeline, and it was a pretty long conference. So we had to do a lot of PR and outreach just within a couple of days together as a team. And I think that really like built our cohesion as a team. It taught me so many different skills, whether it's, reaching out to people, getting people to speak for you at an event versus the other way around. And I think that after that experience, I'm just a lot more confident in organizing events and leading a team, just because we had so many speakers. We had 25 different speakers at the event. We had people from 40 different countries join us through Zoom. And it was difficult to organize, but also so fun at the same time, and so rewarding just seeing that we were able to positively impact the community and just educate students worldwide on interdisciplinary topics, which haven't really been mixed, ever before. So yeah, that's been my favorite experience.
For sure. Thank you both so much for your answers. And since we're now around halfway through our event discussion time, we wanted to open up the floor to live questions from all our attendees. So now's the time to ask our panelists any questions you have in the Zoom chat. If you'd like to verbally ask your questions, please private message Rachel and we will spotlight you. So go ahead, audience, take it away.
So I know that she just said to spotlight or to private message Rachel and spotlight, but I feel like I should be able to, as the host of the event, ask my question without doing that. So I did have a quick question for both of you, which was, what do you think was, I guess, the biggest challenge that you faced? Just sort of finding what you're interested in, and how did you overcome that? That's my question.
I think the biggest challenge for me was I wanted to get started right away on everything. I wanted to get an internship right when I got to college. I wanted to, move up and start right away. But I think timing is the best thing. Right when you get to college, everybody thinks they're a hot shot. Everybody's the most experienced. Everybody wants to have the best internship. But I think reminding yourself that you don't know everything yet, and it takes time to learn a few things. And I would rather take 1 or 2 years to learn a few things along the way and land a great internship and that I can do my best work at, rather than jumping into something right away that I'm unsure about and I don't think I can do my best work and perform to my best ability. So I think, yeah, taking that time and realizing, yes, I'm in college and I do need to take a few classes and I do need to learn a few things. So yeah, I think realizing that right off the bat and kind of being introspective about things. It does take that time to look inward and definitely realize your strengths and your weaknesses and working on your weaknesses throughout the years.
Yeah, so I would say just like as a high school student, it's always kind of difficult deciding what you want to do. And personally for me, I just thought that business had so many different applications. You can really do anything within the field, and that's why I personally chose it. And as Isabel said, at college, you don't have to instantly just start doing things when you don't have experience or when you're not ready. I think developing those skills takes time. Developing your network takes time. That was my light because my dorm has automatically switching off lights. Sorry about that. So yeah, I think like developing those skills takes time, not only in high school, but also when you get to college. And I think taking your time and letting yourself be open to other career field possibilities is very important. Definitely don't shut yourself off. Even if you get to, business school and you decide that that's not what you want to do, that's totally fine. You have a lot of room to explore and figure out like where your interests best align with your career. So definitely take your time. Don't rush into things and keep an open mind.
Yeah, exactly what Trisha said. At least at DePaul, we don't officially have to declare a major until our junior year. So you can go your freshman year, you can get into the business school, and then that's what electives are for. You have a few electives to explore classes in the arts and the sciences and philosophies. And if you do find yourself maybe interested in something in the sciences, it's okay to switch. One of my friends has switched 4 times now, so it definitely can happen. But yeah, you have time, and that's what college is for, just figuring things out, and nobody is expecting to have an answer right away. So I would say that just to ease your worries.
Yeah, those were some really great answers. Thank you so much again. Okay, so one of the audience members named Casey wanted to ask, is college or university better for studying business?
Trisha, you want to go ahead with that one?
By college, do you mean like high school? Like, is high school or university better for studying business, or do you mean like MBA versus college after high school? Okay. Okay, so I would say that in high school, at least I didn't have that many opportunities to learn about business. I kind of really had to go out of my way to find those opportunities. So I would say that developing the skill set, a business mindset, and that skill set is important in high school. But I think that you'd really get access to those opportunities once you got into college. And just to answer like the college versus MBA question, a lot of people told me that it's not worth it to study business in college, and it's better to just pursue it in an MBA program. But I personally feel like if you are in an undergraduate business program, that's really going to help you prepare for a career in that field. You're going to get internships in that direction. You might get mentors that are also in the business field. And I think that network is extremely important, even in your undergraduate career. So I would say that, at least for me, I thought it was worth it to pursue business as a degree in my undergraduate years. But I also think MBA is super important as well. But I definitely don't think, that you should only do an MBA because an undergraduate business degree isn't going to get you anything. I really don't think that's true, just from my personal experience.
For sure. Thank you so much, guys. Another question from our audience is, in high school, what are some effective ways to implement PR/networking to grow organizations or clubs?
That's a really awesome question. I think maybe something that Trisha said at the beginning, that social media is a big tool. Everybody has a social media accounts. Everybody's always on social media accounts. So if you are in a club or an organization or even a sport at your school, just maybe starting a social media account, talking to your coach or the organization leader and working with them. And yeah, just taking pictures at events, and like Girls for Business does really well, letting people know events coming up, and just education through Instagram. Other things that could be good are like posters and announcements around the school. I'm trying to think. I hate when people say this, but like high school was so long ago. Yeah, I was in a leadership club in high school, and I think especially we did a lot of outreach and stuff. Let other schools know who we are, and maybe collaborating with other schools could be a really cool thing. So if you are maybe interested in PR, kind of stepping up in a role within your organization or your club, and yeah, taking on that role of organizing an event or a game. And yeah, outreach is really good. And I think it's a perfect way to start right in your club, because that translates really well to an application, and that translates really well into the workplace. So yeah.
Yeah, kind of bouncing off of that, I think that social media obviously is very important. Building a brand image for whichever organization or club you're trying to grow is also important. Getting, a very solid value proposition, why people should join your club over other clubs is also super important. I think if you're doing something which is not unique, it leaves a lot of room for people to kind of switch over to other things. And I think to retain that community, you should definitely be offering something unique to your audience, something that's niche, and something where, a real community is being built. So I think building that community, having a good idea, having a unique idea in the first place, and then kind of putting social media in with that, I think are all great ways to kind of grow either your nonprofit or NGO or club, whatever you may be doing.
Okay, yeah. So those were some really good answers. And the next question is from Sophie, who wants to ask, how did you decide which college or university would be best for you to pursue a career in PR?
I would say researching that school, or maybe like best PR schools in the US, or if you want to stay in your state, or if you want to go to a certain state, maybe just narrowing it down from there. DePaul, if anyone's looking in Chicago, has a great PR program. And if you're really looking into it, and you have a LinkedIn, maybe looking at some alumni who have maybe graduated from that school that you're interested in, or who currently go there, or if anybody who went to your high school is thinking about going there. Taking college visits is especially important. And yeah, making lists, asking questions that you want to ask at those visits, especially. So I think, yeah, research is definitely the biggest thing. And it doesn't hurt to apply to school. I think if I remember 4 years ago, they probably still do this, like application fees, you do have to pay. But if you have the means, or if you can get a waiver for that, I think it's a great idea to just kind of throw your hat in the ring and apply to a bunch of different schools.
Yeah, I think Isabelle's answer was great. And for me, I didn't have Cornell on my list initially, but later on, I kind of added it. And when I got in, I thought that it would be the perfect fit for me just because Dyson is very collaborative. There's so many opportunities and resources here. And I thought that I would have ample opportunity to join clubs that I was interested in, do just like personal branding, learn from other really amazing students and peers reasons. But I think that when trying to find a college which is a perfect fit for you, you should look at a lot of different things, research the school, research the programs and professors, read about what the school can offer to you, and try to imagine yourself there, and try to see yourself as a student there, mingling with other students, taking part in the programs that the school has to offer you, and look deeply into the culture of the school and see if it's a good fit for you. And I think that, like, you know, if you feel like you're going to fit in there, and there are opportunities there for you to pursue, whether it's in PR or any other program, definitely apply. Don't hold back from applying, and make sure that, you know, you're not just applying because it's a prestigious school. Make sure that you're applying because you think that you're going to fit in there and that the school is the best place for you to be, which can offer you everything that you personally need. So if there is a prestigious school versus a school that you think, you know, you'd fit in better at, don't choose the one that you don't think you'd, you know, succeed in. Choose a school that you think that you personally will succeed in and grow as a person in.
Thank you so much for everyone. Thank you so much for all your answers, and thank you for all of our questions. And it looks like we're nearing the end of our event time, so we can conclude our discussion and Q&A, and I will pass it back to Angelica.
Yeah, thank you so much, Maddie and Catherine, for helping me co-host this event, and especially both of our panelists today for all of your amazing answers to all of our great questions. So before we put the presentation back up, we did want to take a quick Zoom group picture for our social media